Remember who you are and where you came from. Such was the advice given to Dr. Brian O'Brien by his grandfather. Decades later, O'Brien sees how this same lesson can be applied to the restoration efforts at Holy Cross Cemetery. In meeting me to share his knowledge of this historic gem in downtown Halifax, O'Brien invites us to recognize how our own personal stories are caught up with this place and the people resting here.
There are all kinds of people buried here. As you come in the gateway, there are a number of lawyers, there are a number of judges, and as we come down here, we'll approach the area of Sir John Sparrow David Thompson. He was Prime Minister of Canada, Premier of Nova Scotia, involved with the foundation of Dalhousie Law School, the labor laws of Canada, promoter of women's rights. He was a Prime Minister from 1892 to 1894, and he died in England when he was visiting the Queen. This is his stone, and the area where the stone is a National Historic Site. Now, as we come here, this is Charles Robinson's stone. He received the Medal of Honor, the U.S. Navy Civil War, 1840 to 1896. So we've got a Prime Minister, we've got a naval hero. This gentleman was a Russian priest. There are a number of priests here. These small stones are people that I understand who formerly taught at St. Mary's. And as we go up the way, we'll see the stone of Bishop Burke, who was the initiator of St. Mary's University. Following here, there's Richard Baptist O'Brien, who took over St. Mary's from 1840 to 1846. The next one in the row is Bishop Thomas Connolly, who was the president of St. Mary's from 1846 to 1851. St. Mary's in 1880 became non-functional and didn't get started again until 1903, when Bishop Cornelius O'Brien reestablished St. Mary's at Windsor and Quimple Road. St. Mary's rested there and functioned there until 1950, when it was moved to its present site by Bishop McNally, and he's buried there. So all those presidents of St. Mary's are in one row in this cemetery. Again, these people contributed to the education of thousands of students here in Nova Scotia, and there's the history of St. Mary's University. On the other side of the chapel, built in the day, are a number of nuns, the Sisters of Charity. They established the Halifax Infirmary, Mount St. Vincent, a home for the poor, home for unwed mothers, St. Patrick's High School. Think of the people who have benefited by their presence. They're all buried there. There are many people who are buried here with no documentation. So that's why we want to document the stones that are still standing, because it won't be long before they'll be illegible. And the stones are particularly valuable because there's a lot of information on them. It indicates the name of the people, where they were, how old they were, when they died, and where they came from in Ireland. That's significant, because if the information on the stones were preserved for posterity, it would be a wonderful source of genealogical research.
We're looking at Our Lady of Sorrows Chapel, which is also locally known as the Church Built in a Day, for the reason that it was built on August 31st, 1843, when approximately 1,800 volunteers appeared on this site to raise and roof the church. They started in the morning and finished by 7 p.m. in the evening. And the chapel is actually a municipally registered heritage site. The windows in the chapel are clear glass, with the exception of the window at the east end. It's composed of fragments of stained glass brought to Halifax from Europe, possibly the oldest stained glass certainly in Nova Scotia and maybe in the country. At the base of the altar, there are fiberglass replicas of rare medieval sculptures that are now part of the permanent collection of the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia. So what we have are the replicas of those sculptures.
Can you talk to me about what was endured for these people to get here to Canada?
Well, they came thousands of miles in sailing ships. Many of them didn't make it. Many of them died from typhoid and all kinds of diseases. These people survived, and because they survived, we're still alive. So we're lucky. And we owe it to them at least to respect the place where they were buried. Our job is just in one area, and that is to try to raise funds and volunteers to refurbish Holy Cross Cemetery. That far end now is twisted like this. It has to go like that. By virtue of coming here, I saw that this place really is bad. It suffered from time, neglect, and vandalism, those three things. Time is going to take its toll. We hope to get around that by preservation of the information on a CD. We wish to become involved so it will not be neglected. And vandalism, if we can only stop that and raise the stones, hopefully we'll get ahead. A couple of weeks ago on Saturday, we raised 3 stones, and that Wednesday evening, some of the vandals came in and they dumped 7 stones, and they came in the gate and they started down here. This stone is one that was pushed over on Wednesday night. This one over here was dumped over sideways. Here's another one here that was bowled over the same evening. This is one that's really quite upsetting because they knocked the top off this, and as you can see, it has cracked at the bottom. To fix that would be a big job. I don't know if it can be fixed. There's a rum bottle just outside the church door. It's a matter of education and respect. And if we could ask them to please stay out of here. And if you do go through here, leave the gravestones alone out of respect for the dead.
We don't have a lot of opportunities in life to I think, draw us into those aspects of who we are, what we're about, where we come from, what's important. It's just the fact that people come together to do something so important to them at the time, to work together to do it. And here we are, doing a small part to resurrect, in a sense, that the life of that time, the commitment of community, and to experience a little bit of it together. More people need to come out, and for 3 hours, one time. Anything that people can do, they'll find that they fit in, that it helps. And once you get here and once you do it, it's contagious. All of a sudden they show up as a friend the next time, and it just grows and grows.
It would be very helpful for people to come to the Holy Cross Cemetery, to walk around, to get a sense of it, to read some of the headstones. And then when they do, I think they'll understand what it's all about.
A couple of weeks ago, the ambassador to Canada from Ireland got in touch with us. He came here to the cemetery and we took him on a tour. He was quite enthused about it. After he heard about all the people that are here, the government of Ireland has contributed $4,500 to us to enable us to set up a website. So if the Irish government can help us and if they're interested, I think maybe some other people might get interested too. We have talked to a number of people and we've had some help, but we need a heck of a lot more. And understanding and participating will hopefully educate people as to the need. That includes standing up the stones. We can only do these little guys. These stones are very heavy. They weigh 400 to 500 pounds. The big fellas weigh a ton up to 2 tons, so we can't touch those. If families wish to refurbish their stones, as you can see, some of these stones are in pretty bad shape. So if families wish to do that, they can tell us. If they will finance it, we'll make the arrangements for that to be done. Long-term lighting for security purposes. We need security help in a bad way by way of fencing, gating, and we hope to get enough money to hire professionals to do that part of the work.
Just lift it up and get another piece of wood underneath.
We've had a study done on the place, and we found that we need about $850,000 to refurbish it and make it look respectable. We have a tax number, so if anybody wishes to donate money, they get a tax number. And when you look at the stones and then go to the internet and look up who these people are, how their lives were led, and what they did, even against great difficulty, you can't help but feel some association with them and wish to do something to help to pay them back a little bit. And this is our way of doing it.